My name is Linda Pransky, and I've been asked on the part of the Three Principal Global Community website people, Paul, in other words, to talk about the principles of thought, consciousness, and mind. And I've been a practitioner and a student of the principles for many, many, many years. And my understanding of the principle has grown in their simplicity and understanding. But I still just know a little bit. So I'm going to tell you the little bit that I know. And when I say no, I don't mean no from my intellect. I mean know or understand through insight. So here's how they look to me. And I'm going to start with mind, actually, the principle of mind, which is my favorite one right now. And the principle of mind to me is basically the intelligence behind life that we're all connected to, an intelligent energy that we're all a part of and all connected to, and which connects us all. And the reason that I talk about mind like that is because it seems true to me. I resonate with that understanding. It feels right. It's a feeling that I have about the principle of mind, that we're all connected in a greater energy, and we are that energy of life. And very practically, the way mind looks to me is given that it's the source of the intelligent energy behind life that we're a part of. It gives us the possibility, or allows for the possibility, of all answers to all questions that we have in our personal life. Like, for example, and this is a very stupid, silly example, but a couple years ago, I was really needing an answer, an architectural answer to a house that I had. I didn't know what to do with it. And I would go look at it and I think I have to tear this house down because it's just a modge podge of rooms and connections that don't make sense, and it just needs to be torn down, and we need to start over on this. And I would go over and I'd look at it, and then my mind would just fill with all kinds of thoughts, and then I would go away frustrated. Well, one day I went, and all of a sudden a new thought came, an answer, a very simple answer. It needs a wall right there. And I could, wherever, what I was looking at, the wall would answer all questions to the house. It answered everything I needed in terms of organizing and making it workable and livable. A wall, one wall. And it was such a simple answer. And that's what I mean by the practical understanding of the intelligence of all things that we're connected to. It'll give us a new thought. Mind will give us a new thought that's pertinent, that's relevant to our lives, if we get out of the way. And what I mean by if we get out of the way, if we get all of our old thinking out of the way, all of our old ideas, all of our reactions, emotional reactions, if we get that all out of the way, we can have a new thought. So every time I went over to that house, and my mind would fill, and I would get emotionally upset about the fact that I couldn't find an answer, and then I'd leave. Then I'd go back again with an open mind. Well, that one time, instead of it filling with all of my old thinking and all of my old upset about why I couldn't resolve this, before that happened, I got a new thought. It needs a wall right there. So in my understanding of mind, it's very practical. It's where new thought comes from. Because as Sid once said to me, which I totally resonated with, There's one mind and we all use it. There's one mind we're all connected to. There's one mind and we use that mind to create our thought systems. And this is where the principle of thought comes in. The principle of thought is our way of seeing our reality. The principle of thought is our way of creating content. The principle of thought is our way of creating a mental form. The principle of thought is our way of negotiating life. We negotiate this life through the principle of thought. We think our way through life. We can think our way through life in a very relevant, very positive, very optimistic way, or we can think our way through life in a very negative, pessimistic, problematic way. Now, before I met Sid Banks and listened to him, I used the principle of thought to think my way through life in a very pessimistic, negative way, in a very emotional, dramatic way. And when I realized that I was using thought in a way that created a lot of bad feeling and a lot of negative emotion, I realized I didn't have to. I could use thought in a different way. See, and that, again, was going back to the use of mind. Mind is where you get new thought. Mind is where you get insight. Because we're connected again to the intelligence of all things. Some people call the personal use of mind wisdom. The personal use of mind wisdom. But I'm saying that we use the principle of thought. The principle of thought is spiritual. It's not content. The principle of thought creates content. It always does. We live in a flow of thought created by the principle of thought. We live in a flow of thought. And what we do, we can't help but live in a flow of thought, but we will pick from that flow of thought and make meaning. Okay? So our flow of thought enables us to have an experience of life coupled with consciousness, the principle of consciousness. Consciousness allows us to be aware of what we're thinking and in feeling. So consciousness allows us the 3D experience of our thinking. It allows us to be aware. Okay? So thought and consciousness go together, like which came first, the chicken or the egg? You know, thought, consciousness. It's like we feel our thinking. And we feel our thinking through thought, consciousness, and our sensory, our body. Our thought and consciousness is connected to our body, so we can feel our thinking. We feel our anxiety. We feel our positivity. We feel our enthusiasm. We feel our worry. We feel our anger. We feel our joy. We feel our sadness. So we get to have a feelingful experience of life through thought and consciousness and our sensory system in our body. And that's all that happens. It just makes, we have our own separate reality, our own movie of our life, which is beautiful. We get to think, feel, see life through thought and consciousness. Now, thought and consciousness, like I said, we live in the flow of it, but we can make meaning out of it. Like I used to make a lot of meaning out of the experience of sadness. I used to make a lot of meaning out of the experience of negativity. I used to make a lot of meaning out of the experience of having my feelings hurt, right? And when I realized that I was adding thought to thought, in other words, thinking a lot about my experiences, and I realized I didn't have to, and if I didn't, I'd just flow through them. It really helped me in my life. It really helped me to have a more resilient experience of life. So that I go through all kinds of experiences, good, bad, ugly, indifferent, negative, positive, neutral. I go through all kinds of experiences of life like everybody does. But because of my understanding of the principle of thought and consciousness, I stopped taking them so seriously. That's what the understanding did for me, is I stopped taking myself, my life, my experiences so seriously. And that was really helpful, because I realized I didn't have to. It wasn't required. I could, I still can, I still do sometimes take my thinking or my experiences really seriously, but I don't have to. And that's all the difference in the world, is that you don't have to. And then I realized the principles gave me a map. They gave me a psychological map for where I'm at. So my feelings became a compass of my thinking and let me know, do I want to think into this thought? Do I want to think into this experience? Do I want to hold it? Or do I want to allow my experience to flow and my head to clear? Do I need a new thought from mind? Do I need to get quiet and get a new thought about this? Because I realized that, back to mind again, the principle of mind, all possible answers to all questions are there. So no matter what predicament I find myself in, there's always, always hope to resolve, always hope for resolution, always hope for peace of mind.